Good morning, welcome to a morning review. This is Kim Watson speaking for Ezeetrader. So looking at the euro dollar, and we've pretty much, we've almost doubled tops into yesterday's highs again, just fractionally short there. We could well be in for a bit of a choppy day, an inside day maybe for some period, although looking at some of the lower time frames, particularly the hourlies, I guess there's a chance of a bigger bounce, which could see us pushing back towards that sort of 134 sort of 113, 114 area even, possibly. But the likelihood is that we will remain pretty within a smallish range. There's no significant, I'm just looking through the European news, there's nothing particularly significant between now and then. Even the US building permits, unemployment claims, I think all that will be almost forgotten about, waiting for the 7 o'clock news. So we'll see how it goes. But at the moment, it's sort of double bottomed here. It's sort of almost double tops into yesterday's highs. It's sort of obviously range bound where it sits at the moment, and we could do with a bit of a signal. Now it has got its daily pivot below us, which has a reasonable chance of being hit, but that even if that gets hit, it may just bounce off that again. But if you see any follow through, well, there's certainly plenty of support, of previous support areas sitting there partial way through the day, and you can just see how pretty tight the range has been over the last few days in terms of it gets into a bit of a daily range and sits there, pops out a little bit, but then sits there for quite a way. If anything, there's a little influence of there was a sort of an urge in this sort of shorter time frame with a sort of lower highs, but it's sort of this movement yesterday afternoon sort of killed that a little bit, but there was a sort of this urge to the downside. So we know that in the sort of the daily picture it's edging up slightly, so a bit of conflict there. Okay, cable, it's not really giving me a great picture here. We've got this sort of move into the daily 50 MA, first test of that, and it's sort of still sitting up around there. Have got the daily pivot below us, which may be a draw to the downside. There's a bit of news out, the small retail sales coming out at 9:30. Maybe that will give it a lift to push up and see this continuation of the upside movement. I'm looking in terms of dailies here, in terms of obvious sort of levels of next resistance, and well, it's not too far ahead, the 156 area, the round number around that, but we did spend over a month in terms of days chopping around in this sort of tight range here, just close to where we're almost getting back in. But again, this may be one of those, as with the euro, with the news coming out later, may end up just chopping back a little bit. If it does start pulling back, I'd be looking for the daily pivot as a possible target there. But at the moment, it's it's just a little bit too early to be looking at it. It's also got the 21 to be tested before that time as well. So a couple of points where we could be looking for if it starts breaking down. If it starts running, well, as I say, really looking at the 156 area at some point maybe, and maybe the R1 before then. But my expectation is to see it quite choppy unless the retail sales comes up particularly wonderful. Okay, looking at the dollar yen, do see some weakness coming through here, almost not quite a pivot swing yesterday, but that sort of pattern. You've got the higher lows on the bars, and it seems to be weakening against the dollar somewhat, so may see a continued move towards this upper trend line here on the dailies. 4 hours just sort of confirming the higher lows, high sort of pattern there at the moment, so relatively weak. But again, this could be all over and all messed up by 7 or at 7 o'clock this evening. But at the moment, as I say, certainly looking on the weak side. Already hit the daily pivot, the R1, may even push on up there towards those prior highs that we can see on this chart right the way back here at the 121.30 area. Aussie dollar, finally. The Aussie dollar did manage over the Asian session just to push that a little bit higher back into that 34, which has held it so many times previously here. It did just break my trend line I talked about in yesterday's daily update, or midweek update there. Just broken through that a little bit, but it may just be the the point where it does have a little rollover. It's also caught its monthly pivot properly now through that session, so it may we'll just see how it moves this morning. But it has got its daily pivot below, so there is a possibility it could just roll over, come back for that towards that daily pivot, and maybe onwards to the downside there, a little bit more consolidation as we wait for the news. So obviously news is the key thing. As I said on the midweek update, probably wise, unless you're already in a position to be sitting on the sidelines for the news itself. It could be quite a whipsaw action, as we see various comments made. If it does go well, it could be a big one today, so we'll see how things roll out, and it may give us a bit of guidance for the next few days or maybe weeks. Right, that's it for me. Hope you have a great one. Bye for now.